Hey, Gus.
Can't.
Um, During a week like this, where you're playing kind of an exceptionally explosive offense, is the week different for you guys, or is prepping for an offense like the Lions kind of same process but different challenge?
Uh, I think that's it. The second one. I think it's same process. I mean, we go through and look at. I mean, we're looking at the first game, the second game, the third game, and trying to get a good feel for them as well as we can, and then just kind of putting our stuff to it and see how it looks and if there's any changes we need to make. So, but they are challenging. You're right. I mean, they've scored 50 points twice. They scored over 40 points two or three times, and they can get on a roll and score a lot of points. So it's very challenging that way.
Thanks, Gus.
Chap.
Yeah. How you doing, guys? A,
Yeah.
a, a lot of these questions are sort of obvious, but when you face it, sometimes when you face an offense, you can say, boy, we take this away, we got a good chance. We take this away, they seem to have just something everywhere. Does that, magnify the challenge?
Yeah, I think, we had a joint practice, 2 years ago with them. And I think what stood out is that they are a physical, tough team. They come in with a mentality. So it starts with that and it comes from their head coach. He's done a great job with that culture. And then you look at their skill set, right? They've got two really good running backs. Their offensive line is, I mean, compared to a lot of the great offensive line that have played, and up front, they can run the ball, they can protect. The quarterback's playing. I mean, if he has three incompletions in a game, that's a shocker to him. So they're just very effective. They're very efficient, and they've got playmakers on the perimeter. And like I said, they can, if they don't score every series, they're upset. So very explosive that way. And it's a great challenge for us.
One other thing that is kind of crazy, I don't know if you go into games saying, boy, if we can hold this team to this, do you have those general things that, boy, if we hold these guys to whatever, we'll give our team a chance or not?
Yeah, because I think it's a point-based, operation where you're looking and saying, how can we keep the points down? Um, I can remember back when I was with the Chargers, a lot of our staff was there with Kansas City when they were so explosive. And he said, boy, to give ourselves a chance, we got to, keep them to this many points and all that. I think there's a little bit of that too. You see the teams that are successful, although not many have been against Detroit, but, the points have been down. And so you just try to, work your way through it and say, hey, how can we keep the points down to give ourselves the best chance?
Thanks, guys.
James.
Gus, when you look at your team and the takeaways you've been able to generate, obviously last week a little bit not in that category, but how do you balance it? Because you can't I don't know, scheme up, okay, on this play, you're going to take the ball away. So how do you balance like the hunger for it and the desire for it? And then how do you assess if you did a good job, even if you didn't get the takeaway, if that makes sense?
Sure. I think that I mentioned before that, we really watch film. We have one coach in charge of, really analyzing and seeing about getting the ball. And there's going to be games where you might not get a takeaway or two games where you don't get a takeaway. And what we watch do we have the mindset to at least go for the ball? Are we seeing guys punch for the ball? Are we seeing guys, trying to take their chances when they can get greedy and going for the ball? So I think that's a big part of it. And right now, we can look at our guys and see that mindset on tape. So, we've said it from the beginning that we try to, put in their mindset that every call we make is designed to get the ball, and we have to have that mentality. So we had a couple opportunities in the Jets game. We saw guys going for it. We just didn't, come through with it.
One quick follow up: when Grover and Buckner go in there on offense and it doesn't work, do you tell Shane like, "Hey, I need my guys to get some rest," or how does that go?
Yeah, no, I saw that. I took a little deep breath, but I know they were excited for it, and it's about good morale, right? I mean, their spirit was high. You couldn't keep them back from running that place. So no, I was excited for them.
Thank you.
Joel.
Gus, Quiddy gets a lot of those second effort type sacks, and you don't want to minimize how much hustle he puts into it. But we were talking to him yesterday, and there's a technique to what he's doing too that I think gets lost sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. Many sacks in the NFL do come from second effort. If you don't beat him the first time, it's that mindset to keep going. So, Quiddy, that's one thing you can count on him. He's such a valuable member of our unit just because, if anything, he's going to play with really, I mean, he's strong, he's tough, but he plays with great effort. And you're right, some of his sacks have come from that way, but that's not shocking to us because that's how he is in practice.
When you looked at Latu's game, was this one of his best games? It felt like there was a ton of pressure off the blind side.
Yeah, he did. I think you could, if you really just watched him rush, you could see his bend, his athleticism. He made a play on a flare screen. He's so athletic. Is trying to utilize that skill set. So like I said, I think for him it's a process, but boy, I mean, he is getting better and better each week. And it's just like takeaways. If he continues to do that, I think the sack numbers will come.
JJ?
Hey Gus, looking at the Texans game the Lions had a couple weeks ago, usually when a team loses the time of possession battle and the turnover battle by the significant margins Detroit did, they wind up losing the game. What about that offense allows them to, even if things aren't going well, to still be able to grind out a win like they did in that game?
Well, they're really dangerous in that I think their lowest point total, it comes in the first quarter. They're very explosive in the second and the third quarter. And we mentioned that. Here's Houston had, what, 5 takeaways, and they still scored 25 points, and I don't know how else to say it. They're explosive at running back, receiver. Their quarterback is playing very efficient. They're protecting well. They're getting explosive plays both in the run and the pass game, and they can put points up in a hurry. And, Tennessee, is ranked 1 or 2 in the league, I think, in defense, and they got 50 on them. So they're just a team that presents a great challenge because they got so many threats, and they're really operating really efficiently right now.
Do you have to go into a game then kind of knowing you're going to have to adjust because they might, like you mentioned in the first quarter, they might be trying to jab you a little bit in the first quarter to figure some stuff out and then identify wherever they can attack you into the second and third quarter?
Well, I think that, each game you have some wrinkles and you come up and say, all right, here's the different looks we're going to give. But, for example, tomorrow will probably be more of a walkthrough practice. And we've got, we're really challenging the players to watch a lot of tape, and saying, hey, we can only get so many reps in practice, and they do a lot on offense. So it's really going to come off of banked experiences and, playing fast. I think that's extremely important to us right now is to play fast because, they play with great speed.
Couple more here. We'll go Kevin.
Gus, you brought up Kansas City before. I mean, in your history against them, do you find similarities with Detroit? Do you find differences with Detroit and just their potency?
There are some similarities. I'd say just, the points, I think, where they can, they've got explosive players. This was back in the day when they had Tyreek and, they had guys that could, get a touchdown in one play. And that's how Detroit is. I think that Detroit's run game is the real deal. I mean, they've got 2 backs that I think are running at an extremely high level. Some say they're the 2 best backs in the league, and they have them both on the same team. So when you have a challenge of they're a really good run team, and then they have the play action max off of it where they can get the big plays off of it, I think that's what makes them so challenging. They're very complete that way.
And then last question from George.
Guys, I think you've got 13 sacks in the last 5 weeks, something like that. A good number. Sort of correlates a little bit with Buckner's return. Is that a coincidence? And if not, what other factors are involved in this increased sack total?
I would say, yeah. Obviously, when you get Buck back, that you see sometimes protection changes, and it leaves guys where they get more one-on-ones because of it. So that's, I think, whenever you have a really good player come back and play, that always helps. So, but I do think that group is just, you're watching them. We're asking them to do different things, and each week there's no glitch. There's no hesitation, whatever is needed to do that week. But at the same time, I think, when we get that lead and, they can pin their ears back, I think that you're seeing their technique from day one to where it is now. It's improving. I think they're refining their pass rush skills. They've always been a group that's played with pretty good effort, and I think that helps as well.
Great. Thanks, Gus. That was our last question. We appreciate your time.
Okay. Thank you.